Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to continue our scholarly examination of Echo of Futurepast. We're up to number 4 now. Once again, we have another beautiful Frank Frazetta-inspired painted cover by Arthur Suydam. Pretty nice stuff. Start off with the contents page as usual, and now we have the 4th chapter of Neil Adams' Frankenstein, Count Dracula, and Werewolf. We start where we left off. Angelica, the werewolf, is in this Romany camp, and they're all attacking her. She's savagely fighting them all. Great panel right there. Then all of a sudden they hear a howling, and everyone turns around. And it's this gray werewolf. And the gray werewolf attacks Angelica. They're savagely fighting. Bella, who is near death, he's the sadistic Romany who's been harassing Angelica. He picks up a gun with a silver bullet, aims it at Erica, but he misses and hits the gray wolf instead. He quickly dies, and the gray werewolf dies and turns back into Maleva, Bella's mother. That was the old Romany woman who basically captured Angelica and turned her into a servant. The Romany all rally, and they're all ready to attack the werewolf again, Angelica, and they all have silver bullets. They fought werewolves before, they know. And Angelica takes off with silver bullets whizzing all around her. God, I love that panel. It's so good. I wanted to pause here, guys. I forgot to mention, there's something sad about this issue. I don't know if you can even tell on your screens, but the paper quality isn't the same. It's not that slick paper. It doesn't hold the colors as well. It doesn't look nearly as sharp as those first 3 issues did. Still a lot better than your average Marvel DC comic at the time, but it is a little disappointing, especially with some of the, painted colors in here on some of the other strips. So Angelica runs back to the castle of Vlad. She climbs up to this high window and crawls in, and she sees Vlad basically trying to control the monster that Vincent Frankenstein made for him. So even though she's a werewolf, she still has some vestigial memories, and she remembers that Vlad did her wrong. So she attacks him. Unfortunately, Vlad has, vampire strength, and he quickly subdues her, throws her to the ground, looks like she's unconscious, and he's furious. And basically the last panel is him vowing to torture her, that for having the temerity to lay her base-born hands, her claws on him. He's just outraged. Next we have Jean Toulet's Virus, another chapter. So he's in London. He's in a bar. And there's these 2 Frenchmen there, these patrons. And Virus offers to translate. And, the bartender basically just says, hey, you guys can forget the cover charge. You're French. You don't get it. But Virus tells the patrons, he says that you're a couple of cocksucking Frenchmen who buy their drinks at the bar because it's cheaper and drink them in the lounge. So the Frenchmen say, oh, we're sorry. They're being very passive. But of course, Virus tells the bartender that these Frenchmen basically said, fuck you. And then he says, better watch out. They're going to kick your ass. Even though the Frenchmen were just like, oh, we're just going to sit at the bar. That's just the way Virus is. He's always trying to instigate trouble. So due to this mistranslation, the bartender jumps over the bar and he's like, get the fuck out of here. I'll kick the shit out of you fucking frogs. And Virus makes a hasty exit. He sees this guy on the street and he says, hey man, that bartender back there says that your wife's a whore and you're too stupid to figure it out. So he runs into the bar to take care of the bartender, and then the guy's wife says, "Hey, you were just talking to my husband. Where did he run off to?" And he lies to her and says, "Oh, he ran off to be with his mistress, the new piece of tail he's been banging." And I don't know why everyone believes him, but he basically makes a pass at her, and she's like, "No, not on the street." She falls for it. Instead of trying to find her husband, she's just like, "Oh yeah, I'll go with you." So they're having sex. And basically she starts laughing at him. And she says, "Your sense of humor is about as lame as your prick." And it's so weird. Virus gets so hurt by this. Even though he's always dishing out pain and misery to other people, I guess he's got a soft spot, like if anyone mocks him. So he runs away crying like a little kid. He's like, "Bitch, why did she make fun of me? I can't stand it. Don't like getting hurt." And then it has this little almost poetic ending. "The tide is coming in and it spits you onto the shore, alone with the beer cans and garbage. No one wants you, virus. No one likes you. Even the sea vomits you up." Next, we have the 4th chapter of Mudwogs. And we see Mudwog with his newborn baby. The blue lady is sleeping next to the house, the mother of the child. And he's going to read him a bedtime story. This is the tale of Humpty Dumper. So he's obviously he's like Humpty Dumpty, but he's this total prick who just sits on his wall and looks down at all the people in the city and hawks loogies at them. And he's got really good aim. So basically everyone has to put up with this because they can't climb the wall and tear him down. But everyone's sick of his shit. So the mayor calls a big meeting. And they decide to enlist the aid of Mudwog. See, this is where the lower paper quality really seems to have an effect. On Arthur Sudam's, beautiful painted art, it still looks pretty damn nice, but not nearly as nice as it did. So Mudwog shows up in this foppish regalia here. God, I love that character design. And I guess he recruits this young girl. He distracts Humpy Dumpster, or whatever his name is. And they throw a brick at his head, which knocks him off the wall. And then everyone attacks him. After years of his abuse, everyone's having a great time kicking the shit out of him. And then we have this big 2-page spread. Scrambled eggs for breakfast. And they make a giant omelet out of Humpy Dumpy. And everyone's having a great time eating them. That's a great spread there. There's Mudwog in the middle. Now we have the 4th chapter of Bucky O'Hare. Last we left off, Bucky and Blinky were looking for the inhabitants of this planetoid they were on. Because I guess it's by regulations. They have to get permission to fight the toads who are about to suck all the magma out of this little planet. What he finds is these basically very decadent, almost like Roman mice. They're all wearing togas. And then we cut away to Willie and a dead-eyed duck. And they're going to try to see what's going on with Jenny. And seeing what's up with this giant magma ship that the toads have. Back at the little Roman place, Bucky O'Hare's trying to explain to these guys. It's like, "Oh, you guys got to sign these documents. If we don't fight the toads, if you don't let us fight the toads, they're going to suck all the magma out of your planet." Meanwhile, Jenny is in the toad ship. She subdued her captors, and she's in control of the bridge here. We do find out why she has these amazing powers. It turns out she's a witch. She's from Aldebaran, and she gets a transmission from this elder of Aldebaran, the Aldebaran Witch Sisterhood. And she says, someone's watching you, and you won't be able to influence them. So be very careful. Proceed with discretion. So Willie and Deadeye Duck, all these frog ships are in pursuit. And they decide the best place to hide would be inside the magma tanker. I love the way he draws these frogs. So they think Willie is a berserker baboon, which the frogs are incredibly terrified of. He's wearing the berserker baboon, the deceased chief engineer of the Righteous Indignation. He's wearing his suit, so he kind of looks like one. And so they unleash this like elite corps of, they're like the Green Berets of the frogs. Look at these guys, so well drawn. They're like maim, murder, mangle. And Jenny leaves the pod doors open and closes them right as the frog ships are about to come inside. So Willie and Deadeye Duck are allowed in, but then she shuts the door really quick and all these frog ships crash into the door. The closed door. Meanwhile, back at that, where the inhabitants of the planet live, he says basically, they're talking about reality. And because I guess they're looking at this orb, which is showing what's going on with Jenny and Willie and Deadeye Duck. And then this inhabitant of the planet says, oh, it was reality, all right. But what is reality? And all of a sudden, that whole Roman, decadent scene disappears, and it looks like they're just on the surface of the planetoid. So we'll find out what the hell's going on there next issue. Oh, guys, this is so fucking good. 3rd chapter of Hom. God, just look at this panel here. Just this airy alien flora is so good. And this is great. We cut away to Hom's tribe. This is a story about Hom's tribe. We see this guy. He's been hunting this animal for days. He's been tracking it. He's hungry. He's tired. But he needs to hunt this thing down or he'll starve to death. Just all of it's just so great. The storytelling, panel to panel progression. So he misses the creature and has to chase it down, even though he's exhausted. But he knows he's got to, or he won't eat. So finally, the beast is cornered, and now it becomes a life and death struggle. He's not just fighting to eat; he's fighting to live, because this big animal is trying to kill him. It's kind of interesting. The narration is a second-person narration. The hunter breaks his arm, but he's still fighting. And he actually puts a spear in the animal, his prey. And he's just hoping the creature will die soon, because the pain is becoming unbearable in his arm. And as he approaches the animal to finish him off, the animal's tail swipes him and he's knocked out. When he wakes up, there's this almost looks like a mandrill, but it's sentient. And the hunter says, he's mine, I hunted him. And the mandrill says, no, now he's mine. So these guys start fighting, and the mandrill easily kills the hunter. The narrator says, all alone, you can't protect it. And so the people formed a group. A group is stronger than an individual. So basically he's talking about the whole origin of, how sentience, like human beings, for example. We weren't nearly as strong as a grizzly bear or saber-toothed tiger, but we could team up and combine our forces using our brains and cooperation and be stronger than any animal out there. So they realize that sometimes when they go hunting, there was no one to protect their homes. One time they come back from a hunting expedition and the whole town tribe has been ravaged by this other tribe. They've killed all the women and children. So they decide to build almost like a fortress around their campgrounds. And they pick the biggest, strongest warrior from the tribe, Ro. They pick him to be like the watchman of the gate. So whenever they go hunting, he'll be there to protect the gate and protect the tribe. They basically say, Ro, you won't have to go hunting. We'll bring you food and skins. That's your payment for doing this. But Ro basically asks for the best pieces of meat and chooses the softest skins. He chose the prettiest women for himself. You can probably see where this is heading. After a skirmish in the encampment, Ro bans all weapons except when they're hunting. So when the guys come back from a hunting trip, he confiscates all their weapons and gives them to them when they go on the next trip. So the power is going to his head. He's just hoarding all the food, all the skins. Everyone's going hungry and everyone's cold. And they're, of course, pissed off. They're like, we cured all those skins. We hunted all that meat. And that guy has enough meat and it's just rotting in his cave and he won't share with us. So they confront him and demand that he shares with them. And of course he just says, fuck you, I will share nothing. So they have a meeting that night. And one of them is kind of like their leader, Ta. And Ta says, yeah, we're going to confront him. If we stick together, we're stronger than him. And now we hear the narrator. Do you remember the next day, Ham? In the center of camp, Ro beat out Ta's brains. He also killed Ta's wife and his children. And Ro basically says, I will destroy anyone who takes up arms against me. And on the next hunt, that's when Ham and his companion Win left the tribe and never returned. That's basically where we started the story 3 chapters ago. And now we're back to the present. And Ham is lugging that dolphin creature around, and the howlers are on their tail. And it looks like they might not make it to the Blue Rocks. That's a place of safety. The dolphin's berating Ham, why don't you move faster? And then he's like, put me down for a second. I figured something out. Ham, kill the 3 long-tailed creatures, the ones that were attached to the tree in the first episode. And he's like, no, what are you talking about? He says, kill them, and then the howlers will eat them, and it'll buy us some time. Of course, Ham's blob is agreeing with him. He's saying, yeah, he's right. Either they die or we all die, because the howler's going to catch us before we can reach the Blue Rocks. So they convince Ham he totally doesn't want to do it. But he kills them all. God, this cartooning here, the expressiveness of their faces, the terror. These poor fucking schlubs. So now they continue their trek. And the blob basically says, I think from now on, I will rule your hands and I will speak through your mouth. Basically, he's going to take over for reals. He says, I can kill you anytime I want. You can't oppose me. I control your body and soul. So things are not looking good for Ham. We got the coming attraction page. Unfortunately, it looks like Tippy Toe Jones is back. And, maybe it'll be good. Who knows? Maybe it improved. I can't even remember. It's been so long since I read it. So there you go, guys. Echo of Futurepast number 4. Another great issue. Mainly because of Carlos Jimenez and his Ham. That thing's a fucking gem. So I hope you enjoyed looking at it, and I hope to see you next time here at the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.